And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me are my two esteemed co-hosts, everybody's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
It's another glorious day. Happy to be here.
There you go. And the Wargaming Wizard from Oz, Kev Sharp from the Big Board. How's it going, Kev?
Wonderful. Good to be here again.
It's always great to be here amongst you guys and amongst all these great people in the chat that have, wow, we had people here early. I think it was the first one was stacking limit, and then Noric jumped in and says, I'll be back in about 25 minutes when you guys go live. So some people jumping in early, and just want to go through all of the comments here real quick. But what have you guys been up to since our last show?
Just same old, playing some games. Just finished up with, was it Black Horse? And
Yes.
had fun with that one. There's a lot more game in that than you would expect for it being a small box. It feels bigger, you know? It feels a lot bigger than it actually is. And I'm getting ready to actually put this on the table. Mr. Mayo, well, so come on, show up. The Plum Island Horror.
Plum Island Horror, yeah.
Yep. Looking forward to trying that one out. I think it's looking pretty good so far.
It's okay, man. You can share that love to everybody here. That was to your son, who's actually in the chat, everybody. That's the little Gimpy, the gaming channel. That is his channel. So go over there and see how many videos he's got more views on than his own dad and us.
He has more views than I do.
He's doing
The
great.
apprentice has surpassed the master.
Oh, boy. So we've got an interesting topic tonight, but before we get into that, because it's a loaded topic that we could talk for a long time about. Probably cover a couple of shows on it. What makes a good war game, and it'll also dovetail into another piece of that, which is I think they're gonna kind of go hand in hand, which is complexity in war games. And that was all spurred on by Kev on his page, on the Big Board page on Facebook. He was talking about for you what makes a good war game. And it could be anything, and that's open to interpretation to everybody. So that's one of the things I want to get in the chat too. Is before we even get into it, once we start getting into it, I want you guys taking a couple minutes thinking about it. Think about to you what makes a good war game for you, because everybody's going to have their own, their own standard of what drives them in a war game, or makes a war game good for them, makes it work for them. And it could be anything from components to rules to publisher to designer to the subject matter, whatever, era, so on and so forth, or a combination of multitude of things, which I think is going to be the case. So think about that, and then when we get into that subject, you guys will have more interesting feedback, I think. But so you're getting ready to play Plum Island, right?
Yeah. I was just reading over the rules for that one, and have you read the rules to it yet?
I have not.
You have not. All right.
No.
Kev, have you played Plum Island?
No, sir, I have not. I've watched a video or two, but I have not played.
I have no one to compare with. I'm thinking that the 2-player, the solitaire version that I'm going to try is going to be harder in difficulty. You get the same number of activations, but you have half the amount of units on the board. So I'm wondering how big of a difference that makes in the game, because it's one of those tower defense style ones where you got to hold back the hordes and they keep coming.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, look who it is.
He's excited.
That's good. That's good.
I'm thinking though seriously that it's going to be a little bit harder because you get one activation. So for 4 players, you can have 4 player activations. Or if you played like the solitaire version, you just have 2 factions, but they each get to activate twice. But you still have half as many units on the board. So I'm thinking that it would be easier to play the game 4-handed and have all those extra units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Versus, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Versus having just 2 that you... Bradley, you cannot yell at me while I'm talking, bud.
Oh, it's making me laugh. I'm trying to not laugh out loud.
Keep it professional there, Nate. Way to go, buddy.
Begging me to come in and just say hi. Do you guys mind if he says hi?
Yeah, sure. He can come in and hear that. He's got a bigger channel than you. He can
Bradley, come here. And now he's wandered off. Hold on.
Bradley, get over here.
Killing me.
Front and center now.
Come here. Come here.
I went in.
say
I went in.
I love
Okay,
it.
come on in. Okay, I'm gonna wander.
All right. After this, you can say hi. And you can't
He
watch
wants
the
to watch
video
himself.
while you're
He
saying
wants to
hi.
watch
I want
himself.
to see myself on my tablet. Wait.
He,
Oh wow.
okay, there's a delay, and you get an echo doing that. Okay, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
All right,
Hey, Bradley, how's it going, buddy?
and they can come check out your channel. We already
My
gave you a little
channel is
shout out.
the gaming channel 250.
Yeah. The game
Our show's been taken over by an 8-year-old.
9. He's 9.
Oh,
Nine.
sorry, 9. Sorry.
He's a good
Nine.
one. All right, push the door closed, bud. Love you,
Uh,
buddy. I'm
Someone
sorry.
push his mute button.
He's so excited, and he just, please, I want to be on the video. I want to say something. I
That's
don't know
great.
if you guys could hear him in the back. He was yelling at me, so I appreciate
Oh,
you
yeah,
giving
we heard.
5 minutes for him. Sorry, guys.
No, he's welcome anytime. You know that. We love having him on. He's a good kid. But
Yeah.
so you were saying before you were interrupted by the
You're
security
talking about
video
something
channel.
about 4 hands and a game and Plum Island.
No,
and
it's just basically you get
That's
half
Women
nice.
units
loving.
in the game. Oh, but I am playing one. I just started a series on it. You'll like this mode, the second edition of Trick Shot,
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
the hockey one. Now, if they would only make Mutant League Hockey, the board game, I would have everything that I need. I wish somebody
I
would
love
make
it.
that one.
Love it.
But
Yeah.
that one's so
No,
it's good.
I think Trick Shot's a fun game. It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I haven't played with the second edition rules yet, so I want to see how that changes things. But I had a really
That's
good
a
time.
Columbia
every time I
game,
played
right?
it.
Is that
What's
a
that?
Columbia game? Columbia game?
No,
That's crap. Who makes
something
it?
Wolf.
Yeah, it's like I think a Russian company.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
Russian.
okay.
It is by Wolf Designia.
Wolf Dezina, yeah,
Yeah,
or
it's
designer.
Nikita and Artyom.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a neat game. It was on Kickstarter. I got the original Kickstarter a few years ago. Then they went to GameFound for the second edition, and they came up with new rules. They had an upgrade kit where you could just, I think it was like $15. You get the rules, you get the new cards, the whole 9 yards. So I was like, sure, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I've got the second edition for like just an extra 15 instead of having to be forced to buy the whole game again. So
Yeah, it's got a nice push your luck element to it. You know, how far you
Yeah.
want to push to try to keep your turn going, but then it can, fail. But
Mm-hmm.
it's quick play, and I think it's something the kids will enjoy.
yeah, and with the miniatures, it looks cool on the table. So
Yeah, the cartoony look to it.
Yeah.
All right, so back to war games. That's all I got on my table for now.
Well, Plum Island is a war game, right? It has war game mechanics.
It's got the National Guard in it, so I don't know how much of a war you call that.
Well, I mean, is the action kinetic?
No,
So you're
You
not
don't
killing
kill
anything.
you don't kill zombies.
well, the zombies aren't shooting back.
Well,
Well,
but
they're
you're killing
fighting.
them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
There you go. That's kinetic.
I think even GMT called it a war game. Didn't Gene call it a war game?
I think he did. Yeah, because
There you go. Must be a war game then,
I
right?
think Herman was talking about that too. And they were talking about that the strategies and the mechanics of it feels like a war
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah. Yeah, I really think it feels like a war game based on the rule read and what I've seen. I haven't played it yet. Because no one sent me a free copy, but that's okay. I'm good.
no one sent us
I'll
a
buy
free
my own.
copy either.
Mo found a copy at a good price
Mhm.
because the price
There were only 2
difference-
copies left, and I got one, and I told Nate, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm getting mine first.
and I snaked the other. They the price difference was so drastic between the P500 cost or the initial cost or the retail cost versus what it's being charged for on GMT. It's like GMT's website, it's about $100, but if you got it from like Miniature Market, it was about 60 or 65, something like that.
60 something, yeah, like 66 or something like that, yeah.
I mean, this too drastic. Obviously, if they've got Miniature Market selling it for that price, then they can afford to sell it for that price themselves. So why not sell it at a price that is competitive with other retailers?
You buy it from the publisher. You're going to pay the retail, the internet guy. He's buying it for 60% off or 50% off. So let's say if it's retailing for 100, right? So they're buying it for 50 and selling it for 60. They make $10 a unit. They don't care because they're almost probably not even touching it, right? So
but there's more profit for GMT because GMT's just paying the wholesale price, right?
no, so that's why they would make more profit if they sell it for 100, dude. They're not paying the wholesale price. They're paying the production price, which is
that's
probably
what I mean.
$10, right?
Whatever it costs, like
It costs them,
$10, $20 to make it, right?
yeah, if that, right?
So sell it at 65 so they're competitive with the other online retailers.
Why do they
versus
have to be
selling it for
competitive?
30% more.
Because you're a
Well,
dumbass.
they're making up their
buy it on their
markup.
website.
Yeah, they're making up what they lose in distribution.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't buy it from GMT. I bought it from an online retailer because I could get it so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But they don't care. They already got their 1,700 orders for it at whatever it was, the pre-order price. And then everyone else is going to pay retail either there or somewhere else. And it's a second edition. So thanks for playing. What, 5,000 copies? 5,000 more copies coming?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't GMT do free shipping over 100? Like 100 or over, they do free shipping? It's been so long since I ordered from them. I think they've done that in the past.
I've never had free shipping.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Ever.
Maybe
Miniature Market does free shipping over 100, or they do or 99, whatever it is now, and it's like $6 if you just buy one thing.
Yeah, that might be what I was thinking of. So many companies have that. You buy it if you hit 100, then you get free shipping. Yada yada. And I was thinking if GMT did that, that kind of screws them over because if they're selling it for 95, the shipping cost bumps it way up versus charging 100 with no shipping.
Yeah.
You're really fixated on this, aren't you? You're not going to let that little puppy go. That's a bone. You're going to hold on to that.
I just wish that the retailer would sell it at a price that I would rather give my money to the retailer so they make more profit than some online person that I don't know, a company that I don't care about.
Trust me, they make their money, right? They're selling it wholesale. Let's say it costs them $15 to make that game. They sell it wholesale for 40 or 50. They're making $30 or $40 a copy. You pay $60. The online retailer makes their $8 or $10. They work on volume, and everyone's happy. And if you're dumb enough to go buy it at GMT after the P500, then double blessing to GMT because it cost them 15. They sell it for 100. They make $80, right? 80, $90.
To be fair, they have fixed that thing because remember they used to charge more, right? So they would charge the higher price to the P500 people. And then you would have been able to get it cheaper if you had bought it through an online retailer. But it seems like they flipped that and they don't do that anymore.
I don't know. I haven't really. I either buy my stuff on the P500 because I want it when it starts to ship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait until it gets into distribution and then get it because typically most GMT games, most GMT games, I'm going to put on the table pretty quickly because it's usually a series, so I can get my fix at Great Battles of History or Panzer or Last 100 Yards or EFS if they ever come out with another module, stuff like that. But so I don't know. That's the only reason I go to GMT. Otherwise, I would do it all. That's the only reason I P500 stuff with anybody is so that I get it sooner, so I can have access to it sooner, and just make some content, right? Otherwise, I'd wait and go and buy it at Miniature Market or wherever.
Yeah, see, Fango's saying that it was 80 for P500, so that's
there you go. So it's cheaper. It's cheaper to wait. If you can wait, it's cheaper. What you pay 60, right?
What was it, Mo? 70? I think we got it for.
Like 70.
You save $10, right? So that's good, right? That's money, right? That's money. You do that 5 times, you can buy another game.
Yeah, I mean the dollars add up after a while, Well, I just think that the first backers should get the best price.
Well, so that's one of the cool things. That's one of the reasons why I like well-run Kickstarters is because I'm going to get a better price or a better price than retail, number one, and then I'm going to get some extra stuff that maybe other people don't get. And I like that, but if I'm going to give you my money up front, then I want a bigger discount than I would get from a P500 because I don't have to write a check until it ships. It's ready to ship.
So Jeff has a question or a comment. He says, "Wonder where he learned how to give a channel plug." Talking about Bradley.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be on me. That might be my mistake.
That might be on me.
Just maybe.
And
Hey, what's up, Jester?
Brian says, "I bet he's a Sagittarius."
Well,
No,
I
no,
don't
he's
know
a
what a
Scorpio.
Sagittarius is.
He's a Scorpio. I had to think about it for a sec when his birthday was. His birthday's just after mine, so now he's a Scorpio.
Slapshot with Paul Newman. That's all you need. That is a classic. That is definitely a classic.
Is that a movie? It sounds like an old movie.
Yes. Putting on the photo, coach.
I don't know that
Hanson
one.
Brothers.
No,
You've never seen Slapshot. It's from like 1973 or something like that, 74.
Before you were
that's
born.
before
Dude.
my time.
Yeah, so you can still watch movies that are prior to your birth date. You know that?
Yes, I know this, but I mean, you got to remember, Star Wars was releasing around the time I was born. So
that's when good movies were made.
Yeah.
What's that movie that's got the American Pie guy in it? The hockey movie where he just beats up people.
Goon?
Goon, that's it. Yeah, I like Goon. That was all about punching.
It was
people
over
in
the top,
face.
funny and stupid, but it was still funny.
Yeah.
But, best hockey movie there is Miracle. That one is really good
Never seen it.
because they did the right thing. They went and got hockey players to play the hockey players rather than actors to play the hockey players.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
It
so
would have
much
been pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. And that's why the choreography and the scenes looks more realistic and everything. The
Right.
training, all that stuff is really accurate. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh,
And,
let's teach all the actors how to ice skate.
Yeah, I know. That's going to work out real well. So Jester says he played a scenario on Herman that Herman had created this last weekend on his channel. So good to see that there's more scenarios coming out. And Nordic saying, anyone know why GMT notification for France 40 charging tomorrow never went out?
I saw something in my email just saying that it was France 40, Rebel Fury, and some other hard mounted boards were being charged for in the next few days. I saw something just today. Check your spam.
Yeah, it could be in the spam. So John saying, thanks, Kev, for the advice on buying a copy of DAC. He's loving it.
Yeah.
That's
We were
MMP,
chatting
right?
on Twitter. Yep.
Charging on Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Site says Wednesday the 21st. So now everyone's going to be like, is it Wednesday or Thursday? Well, either way, you're going to get charged. If you got an order in. If you don't, get it in now. So P500 was $80 is what Fango's saying for Plum Island.
Still too much.
So there you go.
Wow.
129. Jeez.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
129
DAC.
for first edition. That's a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
costs.
that's a good price.
Christoph saying,
250.
I'm from Belgium and I like Compass Games, but I can't order from their website because the shipping is too much. So I wait until it's available in my local store, which usually some months late. Yeah, that is an unfortunate thing.
It's got to do it. Right.
For countries overseas. You're going to unfortunately pay a premium. You know, look at the poor people in Australia.
Yeah, how much is shipping to Belgium?
$784 to Australia.
Australia, the shipping costs more than the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a $50
every
game,
time.
$784 shipping. You know?
Yeah. My buddy that I play with on Monday nights, he has basically he's late 70s, early 80s. He said he's had to stop buying games because it's by the time you add all the customs duties and all the nonsense of Australia, all the GST and extra charges and penalties for being something not made in Australia, it's double the price. So he's like, I'm done. So he bought Simonich's North Africa 41. That's the last game he bought.
I mean, to be fair, though, you're saying he's, what, 70, 80 years old, something like that?
Yeah.
If he's like any normal war gamer, his collection probably has enough to last him the rest of his life with playing new games.
Okay, young guy. That's cool. You go ahead. Be an ageist. That's all right.
I'm just saying, if I stopped getting any games right now, it would be months before I ran out of games that I haven't played yet. My wall is
He plays every day. He plays every day, man. So I don't know. I mean, I get it. You're absolutely right, but it's just disappointing to me that it's so
It's that
expensive.
cost prohibitive. Yeah.
Yeah, like he sent me Vakdam Rhyme, and actually I had 2 copies of the game in there. One was unpunched and one was punched. The old SBI title before you were born. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
okay,
I
we'll-
remember that
So it
one.
doesn't count.
I'm just going to talk over here, over your head.
No, that was one that I had looked at getting, and I passed on an eBay deal that I actually kicked myself in the butt for missing that one. But I know which game
So-
you're talking about.
He sent it to me, and I was sending him something, and so we paid each other shipping. It cost me $100 or more to pay for his shipping, to have it shipped to me.
Now, do you pay the VAT when you do that too?
No, I didn't pay any of that. I just paid the postal charge.
But he still has to pay that though.
Yeah, I don't think it works that way. It's a secondhand game and stuff.
He doesn't have to pay
I
the
don't
VAT.
know. Dude, who cares? Don't know. I'm just telling you it's expensive. That's all
No,
I'm
I
telling
believe
you.
you. I believe you. Was it as bad for him shipping here?
I don't think I asked him for the money. I just sent it to him. I didn't ask him for the money. You know, it's okay. He's a good guy. What are you going to do?
So that's another
I
good
play
thing.
with
Too.
them every
Snipe your
week,
games
so-
off eBay. You can always snipe games off eBay, save some money. Yeah, you wouldn't mind paying 5 to 20 more to make sure the game is made. Well, at that point, though, the game is made. So
Yeah, so that's interesting,
doing it
right? You know,
ahead of
people
time.
say we should support, right? We should support the P500s, but once it makes its number, like there was a time when I was really stretched for money, and so I would support it, and it would get to its thing, and I cancel my order and I go and buy it on the miniature market or wherever because I was flat broke, couldn't afford games at all, so I wasn't going to pay retail. I hate paying retail.
So I'm still catching up on all the
Look at all
comments
these
on
comments.
hockey
These
movies.
people are insane.
Yeah,
Stop
I can
talking.
tell you're a couple minutes behind because now it's hitting the hockey comments.
Yeah. The Rebel Fury is the same system as C3I Gettysburg, and I think it's
Yes.
all based off that. Yes, it's all spun
Yeah, it's
off.
refined, I think, isn't it, Mo?
Yeah, it's all based on that. So, and it's got what, 4 battles in the box? 3,
Yeah, I
4?
think so. Yeah, I think it'll be
Okay.
a series, because
Yeah.
anything Mark puts his name to will get a series.
Oh, sure.
What fight do you have going on in Stalingrad?
I'm playing Stalingrad Roads, the new, what is it, Nuts Publishing game. I'm on turn 3.
Oh yeah, I
It's,
saw that. It looked like good production
it's
quality.
But the artwork is on the counters is a little different, and it's very pastel-y, but pretty good quality overall. Can't complain. I like it. And the game system, I know the game system, and I like the game system. So
And Jester was asking, did we get the new Panzer?
yes,
Just wondering what we thought of the new game. I know you got it, and I don't think Gimpy
Yes.
did. I don't think you got it. Did you, Gimpy?
it's ridiculously big. It's a 7-pound game. It's 5-inch
Really?
box and 4-inch box. It's stupid. It's got terrain tiles you can overlays you can put on the map.
Okay, so you can change the maps.
Super
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, super cool. It's got a bunch of maps in it, but then it's got either 2 or 3 sheets of tiles in it. It's
Mhm.
really nice.
Is
Yeah.
this
Well,
a
I've always
re-release
thought-
of the original?
No,
Yeah,
well,
so it's an update.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
The
it's
GT
88,
Panzer.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's North Africa. It's all North Africa stuff.
Yeah, but I wish they would. I wish they would have done that with MBT. Excuse me, have like at least a 3, if not a 4-inch box, because the way those maps accordion out, and then when you have those data tiles, it's like, ugh,
There's no room. Yeah,
killing the entire box.
I pulled everything apart and well, yeah, I think I did actually. With MBT, I've got it all spread across
Couple boxes.
the 3 boxes.
Yeah.
Then with 1 extra box that's just all the information counters and stuff. So that's getting sold one day as a lot.
Yeah. So I hope you guys have been paying attention to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. The topic is what makes a good war game, and then of course it'll go into some complexity too. We'll probably just go all over the place on it, but this was all started by Kev on his Facebook page, Big Board, and it was what makes a good war game. And I'll let Kev take it from here, being it was all you're doing on your page. You can talk about it, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious what everyone thought, because we've been talking a lot about war games. What's a war game? What do we like about war games? What do we get excited about with war games? And there's so many different elements, and I guess it's all very, very subjective. Right? We all appreciate that a war game has many different elements to it that are important. Obviously, the topic, how thematic it is, the rule book, the quality of the components, the complexity of the rules. Is it about a balanced game and all that sort of fun stuff? And so I was struck by the reason why I asked the question was because I was struck by the last 3 or 4 games that I'd opened up in particular, a couple from Europe, and then of course the Panzer thing from GMT. Superb quality, right? Ilau, 1807 from Sound of Drums. What, for the value for money, what a stunning box. Just blew me away with all of the high quality, high caliber, high quality components. And then the gameplay was really interesting, but very simple, but it's got a little twist to it that I haven't seen in another war game before. The way it ties command and fatigue together really can be appreciated when you play the full scenario, the full campaign.
The pushing the luck for each successive order you give.
Yeah, and who you choose to activate, because you can activate by division. You can activate, do you want to try and activate this guy more than once, more than twice? What happens then? How does that, what happens when losses accrue? So it's got this lovely little system in it, but everything else about it is pretty basic. It's a pretty basic yet thematic Napoleonic game. And I was like, wow, I don't think this is not Lavatai.
No.
But it's not Hexasim either. It's not Hexasim's Rising Eagle stuff, but it's really, really cool. And it's one of the first super simple, I would say it's pretty simple, war game that I played that I just went, I really like this. So I just wanted to hear other people's opinions. There's like 40 or 36 comments on the thread, and it depends on who people are too, right?
Yeah.
So ex-military or whatever. So
sure. That's a great point, was the Alau one, because when I got that in to do the video, I was just looking at it going, and I am not the big Napoleonics guy. Like I do love Napoleonics and stuff, and I was sitting there going, wow, this tells you how components do have an influence on how we feel when we look at it.
Yep.
Quality of the box, the color tone of it, everything just made me go, wow. And I showed it to my wife. She's like, wow, that's a really attractive game. And I was looking at it going, this is gorgeous. I want to play this like right away. I mean, it's beautiful. Right. The counters are gorgeous. They look great on the map, everything. I was like, and I'm not a Napoleonics guy. So that tells you right there that they did a great job, because it drew me into it. So I think that's fantastic. And 2 thumbs up for them on that.
Yeah, completely. And I think the thing, it was interesting because I had the map out, and I said to my wife, Kelly, I said, so what do you think of this map? She goes, well, it's really kind of monotone, kind of drab,
Yeah.
And I said, well, what if I said to you that this was set in the middle, this battle is set in the middle of a snowstorm in wherever it is, Russia or whatever, Eastern, Western Russia, or wherever I was, I don't freaking know. And so, and she goes, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And she started looking at the detail and saw the trees and the roads. And anyway, so it drew her in too. Yeah. So
definitely is very important. And I think that's huge, right? Well, first off, the first thing we see in all games depends if you see whether we see them online and we see them in a store, is the cover. And the cover can literally attract you or make you go, I don't care, just by the cover art. And some people would say, well, that's, kind of weak to be driven by. It's like, well, we're all like that. It's just like, don't judge a book by its cover. You look at a cover of a book, you're like, wow, this is a really cool, dramatic cover. And then you get the book, you're like, man, that sucked. And then you'll just get the plain book cover, one color, it says the whatever the subject is, and you're like, wow, this is kind of boring. And you read it like, that book was awesome. So it's kind of the same with games, whether it be board games or board games.
Right.
The cover will definitely attract you or not. That's why that is really important to
Exactly. I very first war game I ever bought was Avalon Hill's Waterloo, and there's Napoleon sitting on his horse, by himself. I think it was blue and a white background, and with maybe a red Napoleon across the top or something like that. Super striking, and I just went, oh yeah, I gotta have that. It was my first war game. I was 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that, maybe 15. I don't know.
It was well before Nate's time. So Nate, you tell us what are your first thoughts here?
I was just really surprised. I didn't know they were making board games that long ago, back when Kev was 14, 15 years old.
Oh,
sorry, I couldn't resist.
So what was your first war game? My Little Pony?
No, it was,
My Little Pony at Austerlitz.
Well, you didn't play a war game if Warfight was your first friggin' game,
the
dude.
first war game I got was actually Absolute Victory by Compass Games.
That's true, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It was between that or World at War by GMT.
Oof, good choice.
I had this idea to go big, right? Big maps, thousands of counters, thinking, oh, this will be great. And then I just, blew my mind with that. But because of that, that's why I think I like that Absolute Victory map when everyone else hates it. Because it was my first experience. So I didn't really understand that the colors of that map were very garish and, out there. It didn't really bother me. Yeah. But it still holds a special place for me. I was thinking about it, though. You guys were talking about the components, and honestly, that really doesn't matter, I guess, as much to me as like the game itself. Because right now I'm working on a print and play, right? So the components are only as good as I can make them out to be. It doesn't matter what the components are, right? It's the game has to stand on its own merits. What's up, Mike? So for me, the content of the game, like how good the rules are, how well it plays, is a lot more important than what it looks like. Now, of course, I like a pretty game, pre-round encounters.
Right.
I guess that comes down to effort, right? Less effort is always something that's appreciated. Like Black Horse, that was one thing I dinged it on, was the fact that the counters were so poorly cut, like horribly cut.
Yeah.
And it made it a pain in the ass. Like, you didn't have a choice. You had to clip those counters because otherwise they'd look all jagged and torn otherwise. But the gameplay itself is great. So the game's still good. You just have to dig at it a little bit to get something worth playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Joe met the designer Uva at Bayotacon, and he was impressed with the game system and the flexible type of chip bowl. Here it's a cube bowl.
Yeah, because you've got your Prussian and your French cubes. They all go into a bucket, and there's 2 black cubes as well, which are your fire actions. It's a. I'm not going to say it's unique because it's not unique, but it's relatively smart in the way it does things. It's got differences. It's different enough that the value for money is there, that you'll probably play it quite a bit, and I think you'll get a sense of Napoleonic warfare from it. And it was funny because that arrived the same week that arrived. I got for some reason I got
Winter's Victory.
Yeah, Winter Victory, right?
Yeah.
Some reason I got 2 copies of that. Don't tell anybody. I got to talk quietly. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, that was expensive.
I buy twice.
Yeah.
I accidentally ordered 2 copies of the game because I forgot I'd ordered it the first time.
I freaking hate that, dude. Of all the games that do it with 2.
Yeah. $200.
Yeah. So that was a kick in the nuts.
Your
but
wife
$20.
What's that?
If I spend $50 without, giving her the heads up, she knows.
We have ways of managing that shit, dude. I can't say too much because the walls are thing. So but
This
the
is
maps
not
like
what you're looking for.
yeah, this is just look, just pay no attention. So the Winner's Victory was also a fantastic representation. Great, interesting counters, great map artwork, completely different time scale and all the rest of it. But monster rule book. There's 6 pages for weather, right? I mean, something crazy like that. If it's not 6, it's 4. Just a beatdown of detail, and but fascinating. So we'll see how that all pans out. But it did not get straight to the table because the rule book is substantial.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound like good game. Weather should take a paragraph at most.
Yeah, but not in this battle, right? Because there were these roiling snowstorms that change. They have wind direction changes and like flurries and heavy storms and blinding snow, and it's off the chart.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so
for me personally, for some reason, I hate weather rules. I've always hated weather rules. I hate any game that has weather rules. And it's not that I hate the game itself. I just, for some reason, I hate keeping track of the weather.
Because you forget them, that's why.
I do. I swear to God, it's the rule set that I can never keep in my mind is the weather rules. And
well, usually they're pretty simple. You roll, okay, we have mud or we have rain or we have snow or whatever. It's a +2 to movement, or it's -1 in combat or -2 or whatever, or a combination of the two.
Yeah,
that's pretty
most
easy.
of the time it is that simple, but him saying 6 pages of weather rules just sounds like my living hell.
They're going into more detail on it to try to give you more authenticity.
I may be exaggerating, right? It might be 3, but
no, you exaggerated.
It wouldn't be exaggerated. It was substantial. Like I said, every 20-minute turn, I believe it's every 20 minutes. It's 20-minute turns, but every turn you're rolling for the weather. And stuff is changing. It goes from nothing to light snow to flurries to blinding snows to whiteouts, and then the wind changes direction and all sorts of crazy shit happens.
All right, we need to go to a ruling in the audience. Somebody who has Winner's Victory, they have to go tell us how many pages the rules are for weather.
Yeah. All right, fine. You know what? While they're doing that, I'll go grab mine.
So we got NATO. Okay, we're going back to the question I had up here.
That's actually a good question, and I like it when the units, like the infantry, are NATO symbols, and vehicles are actual vehicles like tanks and whatnot, because it makes it easy to see what's infantry and what's tank at a glance.
Yep.
Versus,
especially if the vehicles are different. If you have different armor formations, you want to know where the Tigers are, or the Panthers versus the Panzer IIIs or whatever. So that way you know where everything is, and okay, I've got stronger armor here. They got a stronger armor concentration over here, weaker one here. At a glance, you can tell that. I do like it for that.
6 pages.
6 pages. Oh my God, that's hell. That's hell.
Here we go.
That's misery in a box right there.
2. Well, so 1.5. 2. Another 2, and then yeah, that's it. Yeah, 6 pages. So I was right.
So we know
I exaggerated. By the way, was that you, Mo?
we're not gonna have Nate getting a copy of that. We know that.
What's the name of that one again?
Don't worry about it.
Winter's Victory, 38-page rule book, and then another 38 pages of designer notes and playbook. And scenario
pages
rules
isn't that bad. To the average gamer, like just
run of the mill general gamer, weather rules.
Pretty dense font, dude, and there's some big ass paragraphs going on there. So there's a lot to chew on.
Yeah, NES games are they're chewy.
Yeah, NES is awesome. I like that. The Killing Ground, once you sort of distill or grok the rules down, it's really not a hard game. It's just there's a lot to
remember.
Remember and facilitate, make sure you do things correctly and whatnot. Now I'm gonna try not to drop the box.
No. If it's
So Bob's
any
saying
more
great
in depth than unconditional surrender, like their weather rules were relatively streamlined. It was clear or rainy or mud or snow. That was about it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
yeah.
We're good. Stop there.
Well, it's also more abstract at that level too compared to this one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more tactical you get, the more drill down you get into it, the more weather will play an integral part in the battle itself. But
Yeah.
Bob says great game equals immersive, intuitive, educational, replayable. If it's also attractive to look at, bingo. That's very true.
Yeah. There was some nice comment. I think one of the best things that like Brian says here is, do you want to play it again? And I, all the games that I've kept, because I've probably rotated 40% of my collection out. All the games I've kept are games I want to play again, or I'd like to try and play again if I live long enough to do that. So that they're things that I care about. But there's other great comments on the list of folks chiming in on that thread I posted. One guy said he was a real life military dude, so he's like, I want actual history or real conflicts. I want simulation elements to try and depict the warfare within the military forces competing. That's what matters to me. Another guy says historical accuracy, but not so much that it detracts from playability. But I want easy to understand rules, right? So that's everyone wants easy to understand rules. It can be complex, but is it understandable? I think they're two different things.
Yes.
Which we can maybe talk about later. But
and I think that really comes down to a couple of things. Number one is obviously everybody understands things a little bit differently and retains things differently. But I think one of the biggest aspects is how much are you into the subject? If you're into the subject matter, you already have an invested interest in it. You have a vested interest in it. And everything that is in the rules, you will either go, yes, that makes sense. I already understand that inherently. This doesn't really make sense, but let me see how it works out in the game. Maybe he did this, the designer did it to, to make a point or to show something.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you're going to grok it a lot easier if it's a subject you're passionate about, if you're into.
Sure.
It's going to be very, very second nature to you. And that is a huge piece of it too. But rules, that was one of the things that everybody was harping on like everybody harped on rules, clear rules, because that is one of the most difficult things to do in a war game is come up with a good, clear rule set.
Yeah, I agree. There are so many examples of mom and pop shops or one-off guys that make what arguably could be amazing systems that write rule books that are just tragic, and then they don't circle back and fix it or update it or maintain it, and it just lets the systems down, and they wonder why they can't sell more than 100 copies, right? And then we got to pay $300 for it. So
I know exactly what game you're saying.
Oh, far be it for me to say that game, but So anyway, there's just, I think there's opportunities for what. So in fact, so with ILO 1807, I sent a swag of comments and notes back to Uwe to share my impressions of where I thought the rules could use some tuning and more clarity, even though it's a relatively simple game. And he also got a lot of feedback from all the Spaniards that he was playing with, where Stuka was at Bellicon, that, after getting it out into the wild, which I think you've mentioned many times, Gimpy, is, get the games into the hands of either YouTubers or real play testers who aren't your best buddy, who will just go, oh yeah, we played that 5 times. I get it. That rule looks right. But guys that don't have no experience with the system and give comment. It's like that Compass game, the new Desert. Is it called Desert Generals? No. What's the new Compass game that's coming out? They just finished the development.
Sandstorm?
No. It's kind of like Africa Core, but
I think it is Desert Generals. Yeah.
Yeah. So that first pass of those rules, I had no idea what was going on with just reading them, and I sent a whole bunch of comments back, and I stepped out of it after that. And a lot of people play tested and actually did something productive with the game, but the rules got better. And that's what it takes. It takes independent third-party people to go,
Mhm.
what does that really mean? Right?
Yes.
There's
So
an
without
example
being pedantic.
of what you're talking about, like getting it out there to people to look at it, and Compass will understand because I like most of their stuff. But what was that sniper game? Sniper something. Sniper
Sniper kill confirmed.
Sniper
Sniper
kill.
kill. Yeah.
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 That one, they would have benefited so much by getting it in the hands of anyone
proofreader?
else, because the errors in that were blatant,
Yeah.
just stand out, and just
Yeah.
some minor tweaks could have taken it from not good to something worth playing. And
Yeah.
you can tell that was not play tested. There was no way it was play tested, because if it was, they wouldn't have printed it in that condition. I think they left the designer alone, but he just did his own thing, and it just was not. It did not come out well.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. It's like, you can pick anyone. Pick someone who's not working for you, who doesn't have to, turn a profit, outside of your organization to look at this stuff. Someone who plays war games a lot, so they can give you an informed critique of the product before you go and print 500 copies of it that you're going to have sitting in your warehouse because you can't sell them because it turned out to be junk.
Yep.
Well, the other thing too is going back to 1807, the Alao game. One thing is another thing to keep in mind, I should say, is now that we're seeing more of the European countries getting involved in making war games and bringing them to America, and English-speaking countries, there's also going to be that issue like we have with the Japanese games, things like that, with the translation.
Yep.
And that is really going to be problematic unless you get a good translator who understands the rules in that native language that the rule book was written in, and can then transfer it to another language. Because a lot of things get lost in translation, and that could really cause problems.
Exactly, and that's my biggest beef with Fabrizio with Thin Red Line Games. Just the European mindset of how to word something sometimes is completely opposite to how we would word something, and you read it and you go, it's all written in the negative, for instance, right? Versus saying, these are things I'm allowed to do, these are things you're not allowed to do.
You cannot do this, you cannot do that. Well, can I do this?
Right. And so it's fascinating, and I will give Fabrizio credit for listening, but he actually got a chance to read the rules for the Fate of All, and they're really pretty well done. I had some minor quibbles with some naval stuff that they're doing in terms of they kept interchanging ships and squadrons as a term, and one or the other wasn't defined. So but overall the rules were pretty darn tight for a big operational and tactical system all in one.
But he speaks pretty fluent English. I mean, he's not perfect, but he's
conveying it in the written word is different when you go across languages. So, and I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying that's one of the difficulties.
It's a challenge. It's a European challenge. It just really is, and I can see it even in ILAO, right? I can see it in Nuts Publishing. Their Stalingrad Roads. I'm reading the rule, going, oh, okay. Let me turn my Euro.
North American rewrite.
Not to sidetrack it, but just to piss on these people again because they've pissed me off so much. You're talking about the languages, the Mythic games. When it came to that one that they're still screwing people over as far as the Kickstarter, they took people's money promising them that they would get the games in their language, French, German, Italian, whatever. And after making the promise saying, hey, you give us this money, you'll get it, they've reneged on that promise. And now they're only coming out with it in English and I think French. German, they didn't make enough to get close. So they're basically giving people, well, you can get it in one of these options. And I would be so pissed off if I were Italian and only spoke Italian, or German, only spoke German. Like, this is useless to me. If you give me a game it's German, I throw it in the garbage. There's nothing I can do with that.
But you're going to have somebody that's going to translate it. A fan will do it. So I wouldn't
So a
just
fan will do it,
necessarily
yeah.
throw that game.
Google Translate, bro. Come on, let's not be let's don't be soft.
Imagine playing a game that is very card heavy, very word heavy, and everything on those cards or items you have to translate from someone else's, work.
True.
It would be a huge pain in the ass. I mean, I'm not trying to detract from war games, but God, I hate those people. Man, meteor could hit them and burn them to cinders, and I wouldn't cry. Man, I'd sleep like a baby. I'll tell you.
How do you really
I
feel?
have a guest backstage here. Let me bring him in from the Mythic or Mystic or what.
Mythic.
Yeah.
Oh, the dude's name's Leo. He was crying because he was saying that people were threatening him. He was trying to get the attention off of himself by like crying like he's a victim. And people are mad because you stole millions of dollars, asshole.
Yeah.
What a classic strategy, playing the victim card. Where have we seen that so many times recently?
Yeah.
Here's another comment. Really. Here's a guy, Doug Murphy said, I'm looking for a sandbox to explore historical occurrence, units, maps, scenarios. My ideal is something like a GMT or Avalon Hill, actually Jetco, the Russian campaign, or GDW's Coral Sea, right? So I still have, I think I've got 3 versions of the Russian campaign now, right? I may not ever play it again, but I just love the sandbox feel of that system. Yeah, it's very cool.
Now, Bob says the best compliment he's ever received on one of his games is for 20th Air Force. Guy said, I don't think I understood the bombing campaign against Japan until I played this game. That was the ultimate. And that would be for a designer because you're trying to you're trying to take a historical subject and put it into a playable game. And for somebody who's never played it, they're like, wow, now I'm going to go read about it more. I'm going to learn about it and watch some videos and things like that. Now they get a better appreciation because they participated in it through a game.
Yeah. Well, most people, they only know about the 2 big ones, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, but there was a lot more bombing going on besides just that. I played 20th, really good game.
Firebombing.
A lot of firebombing. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to firebomb Japan in that time frame? Everything was made of wood, bamboo.
Well, yeah, that is the bad thing about it. But Brian's saying subject matter is first priority. If I'm not interested in the subject matter, don't consider it. I'm pretty much the same way. Although I've been surprised a few times, so I don't write it off entirely. But that is one of my, if not the main driver, that is definitely one of my main drivers. What was the next one?
Oh no, it's just interesting. You made a point earlier on about folks need to be interested in the topic, and I think that's why you'll see people who are interested in history and in military history. If they have any level of, I think, dedication or fascination, they're going to try a war game at some point, right? And I think they're kind of our nascent audience for new players. If they've got a passion for history and military history in particular, I've only met one war gamer that I am aware of ever that is really not interested in history at all. He wants to play complex games because he enjoys the mental exercise of doing that. But everybody else that I know who plays war games, and they play other games too, but they love war games because it helps them think about or appreciate history, and then you end up, buying a whole bunch more books and doing stuff like that too. So I think I'm just complimenting you on that point there. I think that's where we get new war gamers, and it's also where we get our fascination and things that motivate us to play.
Sure. I mean, how many people? There's always a joke. Do we need another Bulge game? Do we need another Gettysburg game? It's like, well, obviously we do, because they're huge. They're huge battles. They're huge pieces of history, and they're very approachable by everybody because everybody's heard of Battle of the Bulge. Everybody's heard about Gettysburg. Whether they know, depending on how much they know of it, everybody knows of those battles at least. So that's always going to be something that people would say, okay, I'll get a Battle of the Bulge game. I'm kind of familiar with it in history. That's where that guy wrote Nuts or something, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Exactly.
So you have that connection there. Now, for history people, like you were saying, the guy that never doesn't care about history, just likes the complex games, that's an outlier. And the other thing is there's a lot of people that love history that really dig deep into the history but don't touch war games. And like the point you made, those are the ones that we could attract in if they were, presented simply. And you can, depending on their tolerance for games too, because they may love the history but go, yeah, I really don't care to get into a complex game. Maybe they just want a simple game. And then they play it and they go, this is cool, but I really want more. It's like, well, we've got the next level we can show you. And then there's a level.
We got more. Yeah.
Then there's the crazy level.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, someone actually just commented what I was going to say. David Thompson, covering a lot of those obscure historical events, but his Undaunted series did wonders for bringing people into war games because it hit the general run-of-the-mill gamer and the war gamer at the same time.
This is true. So, as a Belgian not owning a Battle of the Bulge game, I admit it's on my shelf of shame. Talking about errors, how about the blatant omission of vital information from Banish All Their Fears playbook? I was annoyed when I found the battles didn't contain the full information to run them. I'm not familiar with that one. What happened there?
That's a G. I think that's GMT, and it's a derivative of. It might be a derivative of the Musket and Pike series. I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I skipped it. I wasn't. That's an error I have very limited exposure to. I've read a couple of books about the period, and I just too many kings, too many duchies, too many things going on. I mean, don't care enough.
So what was it missing? The battles didn't contain all the full. Was it the OOB or was it all the scenario information?
I don't think it had that. I don't think
that sounds like he's meaning the scenario.
Yeah, that's definitely a big oversight there. I mean, that can happen though, in fairness, because if you've not been involved in the process of printing a project, it's easier than you think to miss something. Just like errata is easy to happen. It's gonna happen. We're humans. We all make mistakes, and those things happen.
Speaking of scenarios, I'll throw this in. That's something else that is crucial to a good board game is ease of setup, right? Especially those bigger games. And Thin Red Lines actually did really, really well with that, and I was surprised because I remember I first looked at their scenario book for 1985, and you open it up and it looks like college calculus textbook, just columns of friggin' numbers, and I'm like, dear God, no. But to give them credit, once you actually read the rule book, understand what you're doing, it is so simple. You just go down the line, piece here, piece here, piece here, boom, 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 boom. And for a game of that size, the ease of being able to put out all the pieces was just amazing. That makes it to where I'm much more likely to put that game back on the table versus another one that is a pain in the butt to figure out where all the pieces go, and you have to,
or even worse, where they give you the free setup. You're like, damn it.
Oh, I hate that. I don't do that to me on a historical game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or it was stuck with the Korean game where there's that Fire and Ice game, and the Chinese all basically start off the map, and so you just put whatever you want wherever you want. And I was like,
you find that
it's good to have that freedom, but at the same time, it's like give me some start locations at least, if nothing else.
That means you can't make a mistake no matter what. You can put it wherever you want. You're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, you don't have to do the homework to work out where the shit was, right? So that's the other side. Oh, dear. What was I going to say that was interesting? I lost the thread.
Everybody's fixated on our hair because we wear hats. Everybody's like,
I always usually wear
without a hat on. Like, you got a hair. It's like, well, yeah, I wear a hat because I like it, not to have a bald head.
All my folks had, full heads of hair. I never went bald. I'm not worried about going bald.
No French rules for Rose of Stalingrad. The only edition is available in English.
Really? I don't think that's accurate.
Well, that's what he's saying. That's what Groucho says.
Okay.
Hold up. Nordic, he answered your question. said GMT series that just came out. They left out setup info for both the battles in the game, as well as left out a lot of units that are in counter form, but no information on which battle they. Oh, good God, that's horrible.
Wow.
Good grief. Yeah.
That is what we call a major fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big oops on GMT.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because they're usually pretty good with their development.
Yeah, they are.
So there's
that's
that means
definitely-
there's like no setup info in the game.
Well,
just
I'm
wrong,
sure they're going to put
sounds
the
like.
PDF up, so everyone has a PDF at least.
That's horrible.
So
That means
yeah,
it basically could not be played out of the box. You
No.
have to errata that first.
Wow.
That's pretty
that
bad.
sucks. I've seen people setting it up and playing it. So somebody worked out something. There must be
How
something
did
on.
they playtest this? How did they have anyone playtest it and not see that there was no?
they probably missed a file or left a file out when they sent it to print. That's probably what happened. I'm going to bet
Yeah.
because they had to have that information to playtest, like you said. They probably laid it all out and everything, just dropped the file off. That can happen.
Yeah, that's possible.
So, which I would expect, and the easiest way to tell if it happened or not that way would be how fast did GMT respond to that when it was noted? Like when people said, "Hey, how do I play this?" Did they go, "Oh, our bad. Here's the PDF. We'll put it up on, our website. We'll throw it up on BGG. Everything else on CSW, the whole nine yards." Did they do that, or did they kind of hem and haw about it? Because if there was a delay, then it means there wasn't one, and that would be it. Like you said, how did they play test it?
See, that's the thing. In my mind, a real playtest is done by someone outside the company with the final production version of the game, or as close as final production as you're going to get, so they can playtest the actual version of the
Right.
game. It seems like that step was missed. Otherwise, they would have caught it sooner.
Yeah. So they have not corrected that yet, Nordic?
Oh, good God.
Well, that's surprising.
And that's a fuck up. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not a oops. That's a
Yeah.
fuck up.
That's seriously dropped the ball.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was chatting with a buddy of mine, and he had been asking me about that Battles in the East series that Anthony Burkett put out, right? And he's the OCS designer, and he was asking me, "Oh, are they good games? Do they play well? Are they, what's the complexity level?" And I said to him, "Look, I think they're good games, high production value, and they're relatively easy to play, and you can probably get one done in a sitting, And so he went back and he's like, bought one of the modules, played it, and went, "Oh yeah, this is not an awesome game, but it's a good game."
Yeah.
And I like, and it gave me enough flavor to want to play it again because it's got some replay value, and sometimes that's all you need. With some good production values and readable rules, you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it depends really what you're looking for, and again, what's your connection to the subject? What
Right.
are you wanting something that you can sit down? Because I don't care who you are, everybody there are people that love complex games, and they'll kind of knock the easy games, but in the end, there's most of the time we're going to sit there and go, "I'm going to play a game." You look at your games, you're like, "That's 40-page rule book. That's a 50-page. Oh, that's 8 page rules. That's 8 pages of rules. I can pull this out and I skim it real quick, and I'll get to playing in 20 minutes." So you can do that, and you want to have something like that, especially if there's a series like ALAO. It's going to be one of 7. They're going to build it into a 7-game series. So you learn one game, you can go and you can by the time you get your 3rd game in a series, you're going to have that series rules down pat, where you don't even need to look at the rules other than just what changed. That's it,
Right.
And so you have those shorter games, or like a folio game even, or solitaire game or something that you can knock out real quick, and those are fun as long as they connect you to the subject and they have mechanics that draw you in, and of course components that are good. But then there's going to be ones where the complexity is going to be higher, and that's where the rules are really going to be super key, because if you get in a 30, 40, 50-page rulebook or higher, the rules better be pretty ironclad, because at that point, if they get too confusing, you go, "What am I doing?" You throw your arms up and you put this game away. And the odds of you coming back to it are going to be lower.
lower, right? And everything else has to tie together, like scenario setup and the playbook and the examples of play. How often I've given up on reading examples of play anymore because half the time there's
They're
errors
wrong.
in them, and it leads you down the garden path, and you're like, hang on a second, I thought I should do this, and you go back and look at the rule, and you're like, oh, okay, that's wrong. So I just read the rules now.
Yeah. So that is a huge plus there on knowing that. Nordic really appreciate you bringing that to everybody here because many of us did not know that. So now we do. Raid on San Nazaire is a classic example of a game that you will want to do better than the last time you played it. And here's another thing too. How many people do this? Maybe not with every game, but at least with half or most of your games, outside of content creators, because I do it for two reasons. How many people have notebooks that you keep notes on when you're playing a game? When I do that for content creation, if I'm going to talk about a game, I'll just write in my notes about it. If I'm going to talk about the game or review it or something like that, then I'll write a little more explicitly. But even if I'm not doing it for content, I'm still going to, especially if it's a topic I'm into, I'm going to keep notes. And I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, this rule is, I think the intent was good, but could have been done better. And then I'm thinking, okay, what would I do to house rule to change it or something? Or I just keep notes on, oh, here, I need to think about how to use these guys better next time I play and look at this area of the map differently and things like that just for myself. How many other people do that? Do you do that, Nate?
Sorry, I missed the question. I was looking up the banish all their fears. And I was wondering if Kilroy was here. Kilroy
I
was
was
here.
saying, do you keep notes? You keep a notebook? You can use crayon even.
Sometimes. It depends on the game. If I'm doing a live playthrough, I don't keep notes because I just play it in front of the camera.
Sure.
But if I'm doing something like those old boot camp series, yeah, of course, I always kept notes. And some of the others, like the digital games I cover, I have to keep notes because I don't have the product in front of me to reference back to, so I have to write something down to go.
Well, I'm gonna break the code on this for everybody. In year 5, people are wondering, what does Whiskey Charlie stand for? So many people have asked that over the years, and I'm like, I say it at the very beginning of every show. Welcome to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, which is all Whiskey Charlie stands for, is War Game Chat. The fact that it has whiskey in it is that much better, but that's all it is, just a War Game Chat. And we just use phonetic alphabet to
Whiskey
say
Charlie is just what you would say WC in the military. It's the phonetic alphabet.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
WC, War Game Chat, but it's military stuff. So both Mo and I being military, we went with Whiskey Charlie.
Water closet.
There's one in every group, isn't
Do you
there?
know what a water closet is, Nate?
No.
The pisser.
The pisser?
Yeah.
Is that like a British thing or
It's
old-fashioned thing?
the bathroom, the toilet.
The loo? No.
Yeah. Didn't think you would know it. That's why I asked.
No.
There's some built-in comedy right there.
Never been to Britain. Never planned to go to Britain. Have really no desire to go. I'd rather go to Japan.
Been there, done that.
Well, not like military Japan.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I thought people were cool. I think the culture is awesome over there. Pretty neat. It's a Commonwealth thing. So, you only keep notes when you're doing what?
Yeah, only when I'm gonna need them for something to reference back to. So, any videos where I'm doing it and I want it to be more educational or informal or informational for the viewer, I'll keep notes for, or the digital games.
So we went crap. Thanks, Bob.
That's funny.
But yeah. What about you, Kev? I know you keep notes.
Now, hold on, John. Look, I appreciate. Are you saying to Japan or to Britain? I appreciate it, but yeah, you guys, you're not allowed to carry, and that does not sit well with Gimpy.
So I like to, as a learning aid, I like to I highlight, underline, or make dots and stars against the rules, and then I like to. Sometimes I'll make a rules summary, like a one-page rule summary, and it's not that I'm going to refer to it, but it's more just a reinforcement tool. And then I write my AAR in here, and then voice record it, and then voice to text conversion, which is awesome with Russian because it screws everything up. And then I make notes on the rules for questions back to the designer or questions I want to ask or whatever the case may be. But yeah, and I'll make a little note if I take a picture, because if I do AAR, written AARs, I'm going to take a picture. I'll take a picture and then I'll have a note in the combat that I took a snap of that, so I can try and tie all that nonsense together. Because sometimes it gets a little, especially if you're playing something over 4 or 5 days and you don't know what the hell you were doing 2 days ago. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I did that when I did the NATO AAR with pictures. I did that. And I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to do this again, because I was taking pictures and writing copious notes for every picture that I took, and I was doing it in order, and I was uploading them to my Dropbox in order, so that way they fell along, or they went along with the notes. And I was like, when I screwed up and I ended up flanking myself, I was pissed, but at the same time I was like, I'm so glad that this is over in turn 3, because if this went to like turn 6 or 7, I was going to have hundreds and hundreds of pictures.
Hundreds of pictures, yeah.
It would have been insane. So it actually kind of worked out. But in the end, it was fun and it was cool. It came out kind of neat. But
yeah, I enjoy taking the pictures sometimes. To me, if I have something in particular go on that I think is like super thematic or whatever, I just kind of want to capture that moment. I get kind of geeky about it. But I've got, I don't know, I probably got like 25,000 photographs, just of gameplay, just because I enjoy doing it, and it's nice to kind of scroll through that stuff and get my juices flowing over writing about it if I'm going to do narrative, or if I want to go play the game again. It's like, oh yeah, that was fun. I remember that, right? It's cool.
This is true. See, now Nordic's saying what I think I need to do with my games going forward is to make a blown up copy of the turn sequences, so I don't have to keep looking at the rules so much. And that's kind of what I do often, similar to what Kev was talking about. Depends on the game and depends on how much I'm trying to dig into the game. I'll end up doing something like that. And next thing you know is I have like all that rule thing like I did with Black Horse, where I was just like, okay, I'm going to have this whole thing so I can just look at it and forget the rule book until I can refer to it. Yeah,
that was
Speaking
helpful.
of that, you're talking about writing stuff down. That's one of the things I noticed with Black Horse, and it irritates me with some games where certain information that should be on a player aid is not on the player.
It's not.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
What
it's just sloppy.
Like,
yeah, there could have been more development on that, I think. And the thing about it is, this could definitely be a series. I really see it. This could be part of what they should do. And I don't know if this is exactly what he was doing, but the declassified op plan 33001, that is, Black Horse was like the first touch in that right there as it came across the IGB. So I was like, well, you could actually take that whole op plan and build it out to all of the whole area and see if you can get to the Rhine. And you can do each section in their own game. And then at the end, the whole smash gets put together in one campaign. That would
that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. And the rules just need cleaning up. The charts need fixing. They should take your charts and put them in the game, right? Obviously fix up the counters because they're using that bullshit printer, that cheap dude.
Superior.
Superior printing, which they're terrible.
Definitely needs better counters.
It was the firing, one of the sets of firing modifiers, like HE or AP or something, that wasn't on a player aid on the back of the roll.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I think it was.
And also clean up the line of sight rules and stuff, right?
Yeah. There were some things that just like some of the extra text needs to come out of there. And I started sending some notes, and then I told Mark I was going to continue on, but I got sidetracked with stuff at work, and I just haven't had the time to get to it yet.
Yep.
And now I'm in the middle of 4 video projects I'm working on. So I'm kind of like, and work has been busy at the same time. So I'm like, oof, that's been kicking my ass. So I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to get back to it, but I do want to try to help out in that regard, because I really do see it, and I think we all agree that there's a really good system in there that just a little polish, I think is going to be a really kick-ass game.
Yep. Just need some tuning. That's all.
Yeah. So catch up. Tony's Board Life is joining us tonight.
Good to see Tony there.
He's got some free time. I can't believe it. He left. I heard he left the war room.
Oh, really?
Left the what?
Yeah. Why did you leave the war room, Tony? Did they kick you out, or did you leave? So we got here, if not already provided, rules references with sequence play. What about dice? I'm going to specifically ask this for games, the components wise. Dice, how important are they, Gimpy?
Why are you giving me hell?
Because you love nice dice. You're just a dice guy.
Yes, I like
Special dice.
some
You
nice
get excited
dice. I
over
like some
dice.
custom dice. I think old timers are a little too attached to their D6s. They want to stick with one D6, two D. There's only so much you can do with a D6.
Oh, that's true.
Do
That's why I have
D8s,
D10,
D12s.
well, D8s, yeah.
Well, there are only 3 things you can do with a D6. It's a 1D6, it's 2D6, or it's 11 through 66, right? So
No,
you
I
know,
actually found
don't
this
don't be
custom
fussy.
die. It's on eBay. I'm gonna have to talk the wife into letting me get it because it's like $50. But it's this roulette thing of a dice, right? So it's got the dice symbol on it. It's hard to describe, but you spin it, and it's got little balls in it, kind of like a roulette wheel, and wherever they fall is
That's
what's
your
wrong.
die roll.
Yeah. But it's got multiple
Wow.
little balls in there. So if you need a 1d6, you just look at one color. If you need 2, they got 2 for that, 3, all the way up to like 5. And then it's got for all the different numbers. So D6, D8, D10, D12. Really cool
Sounds
looking
awesome,
thing.
dude.
It's a toy.
really cool.
It's something to play with.
Yeah.
But I get a kick out of that stuff.
So Bob has something to reveal, but he's not ready to reveal yet. So we'll have to wait.
Sounds like we need to stay in touch then.
Kev,
Yeah.
you need something like this. This is my dice tower, right? That's
I have my
great.
simple dice tower, the one that I sent you a copy of.
Actually, hold up. Wait, it
Does it
lights
talk?
up. So awesome. God. Grim Reaper. Gotta love him.
You are just
Now,
hilarious.
let me ask you something. When you are playing with your little army men and your little miniatures games, do you actually roll the dice to kill them, or do you sit there with like rubber band and shoot at them,
Dude,
and then
I'm
go to the
telling
other
you,
side of the table and do it again?
when I was trying to teach her way back in the day, I was trying to teach her Warhammer. She literally thought we just lined them up and played with them like they were army men. I
Kind of sort of do.
pulled out the dice and I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, here's your dice. And she's like, well, what do we do with the dice? Do I throw the dice at them? I'm like, no, you don't throw the dice at them. You roll for their stats and everything. I was like, what do you think we do to play this? And she's like, I thought we just went pew, pew, pew. And oh, I got you. I'm like, that's not how Warhammer's played, babe. It was cute back in the day, but she's come around. She understands games now.
Nice. Hey, I can write you a note to your parents if you need to, so you can get out of schoolwork, so you can play more war games, Tony.
It does kind of look
That's
like
hilarious. Yeah. Dice matter though. They do matter. They got to roll well. Like the MMP dice are the shittiest dice, right?
because they're
Yeah.
about
Those
that
terrible
big.
little white,
Lowest bidder.
little tiny white red square things that don't roll for heck.
Lowest bidder dice.
That's why
They
I
are
gave
a
you some
step
of those
up from
double
the
sixes.
Victory Point Games dice. What was that?
Which ones?
I said that's why I gave him some of those double 6 dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome, dude.
I was going to say the M&P ones are just a step up from the old Victory Point Games dice. Those teeny
Yeah.
tiny ones you can turn into earrings. Those
The
are
dice
so
in
small.
Roads to Stalingrad Roads are nice. They're nice and round, and they're good shape and big. That's cool.
There you go. Tony's busy. He needs to retire.
He's too young to retire. He's like 40, isn't he?
I think something like that. Is he that old?
I don't know.
1 to 36. So I'm just catching up. So now components, we've already talked components. We talked rules. We touched on player aids a little bit, but what else do we have? Player aids. Okay. CRTs or buckets of dice? I know someone had mentioned that in the thread.
Yeah, gotta be CRT.
Absolutely.
Generally speaking, I think but lock and load, tactical is a favorite of mine. That's really a dice off. It's not a bucket of dice, but it's a dice off. And World of War is a World of War 85, the old World of War, Mark Walker's game.
Yeah.
That's a bucket of dice thing. Roll 3d6. You're looking for 4 or 5 or 6s or whatever the case might be. So awesome gameplay, but CRT usually.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I like CRT. I do like bucket of dice for some games, and they're kind of fun to move things along, especially if you're playing just a simple game and you just want to see how many hits you get, and you get bummed out when you miss, but then you're happy when you get those ridiculous rolls of like all 5s and 6s, and you're like, holy crap, I just decimated your guys.
Right.
It's fun. It's beer and pretzels at that point most of the time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say bucket of dice. That's more like zombie side. That's just when you're chucking it just for the giggles, for the lulls.
Right.
CRT.
I remember
a war game.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it's either probably both, but Europe engulfed or Asia engulfed. I was at a con, and some guys were playing, and I said, "Oh, how's it going?" The guy goes, "Yeah, this is really cool. It's a great game. Now, do you have any spare dice?" I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I've got this attack. We're right near the end of the game. I've got to roll 45 dice from my combat." And I looked at him and I said, "Then this is a stupid effing game," and turned around and walked away. Who rolls 45 dice for the combat?
Wargames, that happens.
Well, there you go. It's another stupid game. I'm sorry.
It's funny, Bob. I don't think he realized that, but he says buckets of dice is good for Risk. Other than that, come on. It's okay, well, we were saying Zombicide is made by Simon. Come on, whatever is, Cool Mini or Not, which is what that shorthand for. And that actually was kind of funny. I don't think he realized he even said that, to tie into Zombicide.
There is a drawback to that. I think I had mentioned this to you guys before, but my brother actually caught a guy at a tournament using weighted dice.
Oh yeah, happens all the time, right?
Yeah, he was playing Warhammer 40,000, went to a tournament, and he noticed the guy whenever he needed like a high roll, he was picking up these certain colored dice. And he watched him for a couple of rounds. He kept doing it at the same time. Calls the TO over and he's like, I bet you that dice rolling 6 every time. TO picked it up, rolled a few times. He's like, yeah. And the guy ended up getting disqualified. And it's like, how is that even fun for you? Like, you're cheating. Like, you haven't won. You haven't beat anybody. You just cheated your way to a victory. That's nothing to be proud of. And you're cheating at a game of little miniature demons and space marines. Like, how pathetic is your life?
You just say, you suck at life, dude.
Yeah. You suck at life, right? A noted game designer, I'll call him a game designer, not a war game designer. I saw him cheat at shuffling. He had a deck of cards, and in this particular game we were playing, we'll leave the game out of it.
Was it his own game?
No, it wasn't. But you had to lay your cards in order that you were going to play them. And as the turn evolved, he kept adjusting. I saw him. He kept moving moving the cards so that it would change his action as things evolved on the map. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play anymore. You're shit, that's for sure. What an asshole.
Well, when you have anything hidden too, like I was playing Silver Bayonet after we played. I played it at a con, and we started to play it for a little while.
Yeah. That was fun.
Those binders up, the blinders up, to block the other player from seeing who you got committed. And I was sitting there, and I'm gonna have these guys here, these guys there, and I did something, and I hit the sheet with my elbow. So when I did that, it just kind of knocked the sheet into the back of the cover thing that was blocking the view. And it knocked the counters over that I had. And I was like, son of a bitch, who did I have where? And I'm like, I can't believe this. And the guy's like, what happened? And I says, I screwed up. I hit this thing on my elbow. And I said, I'm just going to show you. And I picked the thing up. And he's like, don't worry about it, man. Just go ahead and put them where they were. I was like, yeah, but I already know where you're at now in some areas. And in some areas I don't. I don't want you thinking I'm being a jerk and switching stuff up. He's like, no, go ahead. It doesn't matter. So I intentionally kept my head down, and I just put things where I wanted them to go, where I thought I had them. And then I just left it at that. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even want to look at the
Yeah.
map because I feel bad about doing that. And it was the way
Yeah.
the way the table was set up, and then I screwed up by banging it with my elbow, and I was like, damn it. It's where you wish you had a ref watching going, oh, I already took a picture of where all those things were. Cool. Let me put them back.
Exactly. Hey, there's John Sy. You see him?
Oh,
John,
playing Combat Commander. His favorite game?
Cool.
you're not even
Card
fashionably
counting,
late, John. You're coming in just to say goodbye.
If you're not cheating solo, you're not trying. Okay,
Yeah,
that is a
really,
good question.
exactly.
That's a good question. I mean, we're talking about complexity and all these other things. Raise your hand if you have not cheated when playing a solitaire game. Re-rolled, saying, "Damn it, I got another 5 or another 1 or whatever it was. It was a crap roll."
Oh.
How many times have you done that?
That doesn't count. Like if I'm playing a game
No
with
one's there.
my kids and she's gonna lose or a character's gonna get killed, I'm like,
Oh no,
fudge
I'm
it.
talking playing a solitaire game by yourself.
Oh,
How many times have you fudged a roll intentionally because you're like, I've gone this far, I can't have this roll screw my game up.
yeah, that one happens.
Try to rationalize it in your head. I've done it.
You know what I usually do is if the roll will be bad, and then I'll go, you know what, this is bullshit. This is some grade A bullshit. I'm not doing that, and I'll re-roll it, and then it'll be way too good.
Worse.
And I'm like, dang it! No, it'll be too good. Like, dang it! I can't do that. So I'll go, okay. I'm gonna roll one more time, and I'll roll it again, and then it'll be crappy. And I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just use the roll I had in the first place. But yeah,
Exactly.
I do cheat all the time.
I've done that too. I've done the same thing. I'm like,
So,
oh man, I can't believe that freaking roll.
There are some
one more
games, there are some games that actually encourage that type of mentality, and they don't do it by design, but the way they play does. Court of Ventura, right? These type of games, these little games, they're almost like a those old books, the choose your own adventure books. You remember back from when you were a kid, right? It has.
Are you talking about a war game now, or are you talking about
just games in general?
Card game. Okay, right.
But the way the game plays, it's the same at the start of it. So if you make a bad choice and you die, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, shit, I've got to play through this first 30 minutes that I already know what I'm going to do just to get back to here. So I might as well just, I'm going to say I made the other choice and just keep going. And it's not that you're trying to cheat. It's that you don't want to waste that time playing the 30 minutes over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Hun, bring her here.
Yep.
This is true. And John was saying that he was playing Combat Commander over Vaseline. He says, all that discarding can get tiring. Very true. The primary mechanic in Combat Commander is discarding.
Discard cards until you get the card you want, and then play it. Yeah, and count the cards you've discarded.
But yeah, that is true. You catch yourself doing things like that. So, any last comments from the audience on what makes a good war game for you? I know I've got another one of the things I would say that we didn't get into is, look who it is. Hello. He's muted her.
I
Hi,
muted her
sweetheart.
so she would be quiet.
Whoa.
Can you say goodnight?
Whoa.
Say so sleepy, so tired. Just want to come to give daddy kisses. Say bye-bye. See you later.
Bye-bye.
You're just distracted. Well, mommy will be by to get her in a sec, but I'll stay muted for now.
I was waiting for her to say, whoa, you're ugly.
Yes. So happy.
See, that's why he's got the little nod on his head. I was expecting that kind of like snarky comment. But one thing I would say is, I think someone had mentioned it. You had mentioned it too, Kev. Again, goes back to being be invested in the subject matter.
Right.
I like a game that sticks with you when you're at work the next day and you just played the game the night before and you're thinking about it. Oh wow, I just thought about a good point here. Let me write a note to myself on that.
Right.
I put it in my notebooks later or something like that. I'll put it on a sticky note. I'll stick it, in a book, and I'll take it home and I'll put it in my notepad, or I'll just write it into the notepad or whatever, notebook or whatever, and just to keep thinking about it. Where you're thinking about how that game, tied into the actual history, into the battle, how you handled it and what you could do better next time, what you could try, different tactics. Like, man, I shouldn't have gone with these guys. I should have gone with these guys first, and then have these guys in reserve, whatever. That's really cool when a design is built that way. I think that's really successful design. And now that doesn't mean it has to be 100% historically accurate. That's another one of those things. It's like you want to have the historicity, but at the same time, you don't want it to be so rigid that it always comes out the same way every time. Because it's like, if it's historically unbalanced, the game should be unbalanced. The balancing can be done in other ways, like objective victory points, things like that. But I think that's really cool is when you're that into the game that you think about it a day later, 2 days later, you're talking to your friends about it, things like that. I think that's really cool.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned that about the historical accuracy, and that's something that I've never been like diehard about. No, like I'm change it. Well, not change it for the game, but let me make my own choices. Let me go against history, right? And especially with the larger games, a reference back to unconditional surrender. If I want Spain to luck out and join the Allies or whatever, have anything be possible instead of railroading me into what happened historically. I want to just let it play itself out rather than being, forced. What was that? No kids?
Yeah, I'm the only one without kids. These two guys got kids. My kids are in the other room. They're all barking.
Shit,
I think I got three. Yeah, I got three boys, 3 men, I guess. Yeah. I was going to say, historicity is a tough thing because I play them because I'm curious. But so if I know nothing about a particular topic, I'll just play it, and if it works out and I break the game because I did something stupid, so be it. But I want to explore the history and see what happened and why, and then can you do better for one side, or can you stop the other side from ultimately winning, or does the game? So like you look at all these OCS titles that are coming out now, they're all late World War II, 43, 44. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm sure they give the Germans some punch and stuff, but it's a beat down. Like it's like 1941 for the Germans, right? It's a beat down for the Soviets for the entire time. So but except there, you've got so many units that you have to move and do to get the experience that I don't know if I'm so fascinated with that history that I want to delve so deeply into it. I guess that really wasn't my point that I wanted to make there. But I want the history to be available to me, and I want the scenarios to be built such that even though I know I'm going to lose as the Soviets or the Germans or the Japanese or whoever, I want an opportunity to do better than what they did historically. That's the thing to me. It's not necessarily winning. We don't want Japan to win the war, but maybe I can last longer or do better or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's where I was saying you can have, like, say it was a U.S. unit against superior German forces or whatever, or it's a World War III hypothetical where, at the beginning where Black Horse is going to get jumped by a superior, the FSC, or the Soviets and stuff. And you want to have that where you're going to have to, okay, well, the way I look at it now is at that point, especially if it's tactical level, because I love tactical. I love being down in the fight rather than just higher up. And I like those games too, but I prefer being down on the ground, that viewpoint. Then I'm thinking, okay, I know I'm going to get beat back by these guys. They're numerically superior. How can I delay them? I'm just going to run a delaying action as long as I can and try to pick them apart as long as I can and inflict as much damage as I can as I'm pulling back and trying to minimize my losses as it would be on the ground in a real situation. That's what I want. I want to be pulled into that situation to be that commander on the ground, making those calls and going, oops, I screwed up. Good thing it's only counter. I mean, it's cardboard counter. It's not people, in vehicles.
Right.
Because you want to test that out. Now, when you go to like the higher level, like OCS, like that, that's where you have to look at big picture, and you still have to do the same thing. But I don't feel as invested in that as I do at tactical level, because it's more abstract. But it's still really neat and it's cool. But it's it's also where I don't want to see a game work on balancing things out too much to make it, because then it's a game. I don't want the same problem that the commanders on the ground had to deal with.
Right, have the same problem, but give you
There's still
give
ways
you the
to
opportunity
sort
to
that.
do something different if you
Mhm.
so choose. Yeah.
Exactly. There's other ways, like I said, you can objectives for victory points. You can chip away at your victory. Whereas, like, if you and I are playing, or me and Gimpy are playing, I know I'm going to lose this game. I'm supposed to, but I can make you not win as good as you could historically. Right. So that's a victory in itself,
Quick question about Black Horse, since you mentioned this. The 9 on the combat results table, that is a miss, right? Not an elimination. Do you remember?
I would have to.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
It's just a
I have to look
dash.
at it.
Right? Yeah, I think it's a miss.
The dash,
it's a miss.
Dash, it's a miss.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no
to make
result.
Sure. I couldn't tell. It didn't say anything in the rule books, and I was thinking that might.
Yeah,
be
dash is always it's a no result.
Yeah, it's another poorly defined part of the game, right? There's no clarity there.
That's a good tie into what we were saying there. A great game has to make you feel like you were there. Slavish historical accuracy at the price of a good game is a bad exchange. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, any last comments from the audience here? I'm going to skim through while you guys. Gimpy, got any last comments here before we wrap up?
Only thing I would add to a good game is I like some random factor. I like to have some surprises into it. All right, the good example would be World of War 85. The way the card pull, chip pull mechanic works. Yeah. You're not guaranteed that next turn. You're not guaranteed an activation this turn. Things can happen. You can set up the same scenario and play it back to back and have it play out completely different, even though it's the same units, because the activations, everything can play out differently. But it's a very simple system to understand and learn and play. I really like that when it comes to a war game. That feel.
Yep. Yeah. I have one last thing to share, and so I just received this today. So my father-in-law passed last year, but I have a relatively I'll just show you. It's a bust of Churchill. Let me see if I can get it in the.
That's awesome.
It came from your father-in-law?
Yeah. He now he didn't make it, but he knew the artist or whatever, and somewhere in my storage room I have the artist. I've got a postcard from the artist that talks about the history of the piece and all the rest of it. And anyway, so a nice little piece of memorabilia that will go up in the bookcase when we move in. So
that's awesome. That's gonna be a great addition to your war room.
Yeah,
for sure.
It would be cool. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Damon mentioned that in order for a game to be good, you have to really enjoy playing it. No, I don't agree with that. I think a great game, you can still hate it. I'm only kidding. You have to enjoy playing it. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
I think you can.
If appropriate, I like my war games with a lot of political issues. No, we've had enough. I just want the bullets.
Nah, war games with too many. Well, once you get into politics, unless it's a light treatment of politics, then it becomes a strategy game to me.
So like Empire of the Sun, like we was talking about earlier on, that has a political will aspect, and that's driven. What happens to the will is driven by the combat, the kinetic action on the map. So that's fine, but I don't want to deal with socioeconomic and political issues in a war game. Really, even at the macro strategic level, like unconditional surrender, that's got some thematic shit. But that game is the layer in the politics and sort of events and stuff like that. But the game is about moving pieces from east to west and west to east, and killing things. That's what the game's about, right? It's not about there's some setup of the political situation, and then you play the war game. Right. So not interested in politics in a war game. It doesn't really belong there. War, is politics by other means, but we're dealing with kinetic combat. We're not dealing with some bullshit political fantasy land commentary on rights and wrongs.
Well, I mean, I think it ties into something that was told to us. Our first sergeant told us this when I was in the Marine Corps, and it just always stuck with me. contrary to what some people, the civilians, may think about the military, being utilized for humanitarian things and stuff like that, because the military logistically can move lots of things in a very short period of time, and that's a great thing to do. But the military really truly exists for two reasons and two reasons only: to kill people and break things. That's literally it. It is for the defense of your nation, is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
We've kind of gone way beyond that, but it's really, that's what it's all about. And to me, that's what a war game is. It's about killing cardboard and breaking things. So
right. Exactly. I mean, I had a buddy of mine who served in Afghanistan, and he said, look, I don't know why we're over, because he walked around with a bag of cash, giving cash out to contractors to go build schools and whatever else. And, it all ended up being a huge bribery, scam, load of bullshit, according to him. But he said, we were trained to go from here to there and level it or kill it. And that was our job. And that's what we're really good at. We're not good at nation building. Go bring the Peace Corps in or something, right? We're not. That's not what we're supposed to do. I know we did it after World War II, but that was different. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. Right?
You're not wrong. I mean, Marines being stationed in Fallujah, part of our job was peacekeeping, and we were very
peacekeeping, policing.
Yeah. We weren't there to be police. We were there to destroy the enemy, find the enemy, close with them, and destroy them. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting civilians in that's just bad juju all the way around. Not to mention the bad guys hiding with the civilians.
Especially when the politicians get involved and say, well, you need to be police, and here you have to have these restrictive ROE. You can only, once you get shot at and take 6 casualties, then you can call it higher, and they can request, and they go to National Command Authority and bullshit.
That was the first thing.
Shooting back.
Very first thing. I remember getting on the friggin' Haji bus when our C-130 or whatever landed. We get on that Haji bus, blacked out windows like that was hiding anything. They knew who was in it. And the first thing they're doing is reading the ROE to us and telling us all these restrictions on when we could shoot. And it's like, really? Really? So you put a bunch of trigger pullers here and you're telling us all these don't. No, that's not what we're doing.
Now,
that's a
here's one last good one. Political aspects in Vietnam, 65-75. That's similar to what you were saying before with the points and all that stuff.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, agree.
So that's kind of
100%. Yeah.
So that will be it for tonight. We can probably carry this over for the next one, but we're going to try to get, there's going to be a couple of shows here in the next month. We're going to try, hopefully in the next week or two, probably 2 weeks, to get one with Fabrizio. To talk about his new one that he's got coming out, which you've been covering on your channel, Kev. We'll be trying to get him on when that's out and get him and hopefully him and Tony. And then on March 16th is the date that we've set, probably be in the afternoon, where we're going to be doing the auction for Mark Ruggiero from Uva for the ALAO game. So that one I've already talked about on the video, and there's going to be more information coming out on that, but it's going to be a live auction during the show. We're going to talk about the game, and then we're going to also be doing the live auction by the end of the show. We'll know who has won this game, and it'll be sent to you by Uva.
All right.
Gimpy guys?
Yeah, a couple things real quick. My giveaway ends here soon. Check out the video on the channel for all the details. And there is a print and play game that I am working on. I'm almost done with it. It's an air conflict game. But the designer did send me a discount code for it. So I'm going to have a lot of discount codes to be able to pass out to you guys when I get the video up. It's going to be a little while. It's a few weeks down the road, but stay tuned. When that one goes up, I'll have those codes out for you guys who are interested in getting a copy for yourselves.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Kev?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, tune in, see what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm playing.
Make it up as I go along.
Yeah, I'm playing Stalingrad Roads. I've got game new stuff inbound. I've got a bunch of new stuff in at the moment. I'm posting about North Africa 41. I'm playing that Monday nights. You're welcome to join Monday nights on Vassal. I have a Facebook chat, a voice chat with my opponent Steve. You're welcome to join in as long as you shut up, right? You can ask questions, but it's not a bantering session because we play. Trying to think what else. I I have a bazillion things I need to write and publish, but life is busy at the moment, and we will eventually get into my house, and then I will be able to play something larger than one map. And yes, we need to organize a Friday night beatdown or Friday night fight.
Yeah. We were talking about maybe doing one for Plum Island Horror because that's cooperative.
2-3-way, right?
Yeah, and you were talking about how playing all four hands or whatever. We could do it that way. We could even bring Herm in and have all four of us play. So
and why don't we try and do something like that? Let's just do that. And next, maybe not in March, but maybe April or something like that.
Yeah,
Plum
we're definitely
Island's
going to plan on.
The rule system is very easy to understand. So
even I could play it?
Yeah. No one's going to have any problems with it. Even the elderly.
Sweet.
Well, I'm in the process right now. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll have Silent War Learn to Play out. I've got Russian Disease Learn to Play recorded and going to be editing. I'm going to be recording one for Atlantic Sentinels, and then we're also starting the big project for Aaron Armor. And then the next big project along with that will be The Last Gamble. So there's going to be a lot of Learn to Plays coming up here.
Ooh, that's cool. Okay. So when's Aaron Armor shipping? Come on, spill it. Okay, off air.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you know, because I need to put money aside.
I think everyone will have a busy summer. I'll put it that way. I think everyone will have a busy summer.
I don't want to
or
wait
end of school year. I think that'll probably be. It depends. It all depends.
Well, what about Last Gamble? When's that coming?
That should be. I think that's April, or I think that might be in April. I think that's the plan.
I want to get that to the table like ASAP. Well, I got stuff I got to do, but yeah. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah. So we will see you guys here in the next couple of weeks when we get another show with Fabrizio and hopefully Tony as well, like I said. And then from there, we've got the show next month, and then we're also going to have the show for Mark Ruggiero's auction. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. We will see you on the next one. Have a great night, everyone.